Hello and welcome back to the post-winter meetings edition of the Chaos Ball podcast. Hey, it's a Friday release. We're back to normalcy for 1 week. This was just an advantageous time for me to record, thankfully. Still, off-season is rolling with sporadic podcasts on random days of the week just to keep you on your toes. Now I'm back. The winter meetings, they have wrapped up. And honestly, for the Mariners, they were pretty quiet. Plenty of rumors. It was just kind of a very rumory winter meetings, but disappointingly quiet for your Seattle Mariners, unfortunately. But some stuff happened. Some major stuff definitely happened. And I'll talk about that stuff. I'll talk about some stuff that happened at the winter meetings, but I'm also going to talk about the Red Sox. Maybe for a second, a team that has been intertwined with the Mariners, at least on the internet, for a full calendar year now, and nothing has even happened. Besides, funny enough, the only trade that's happened with them is the Luis Urias trade, Isaiah Campbell, which is ridiculous. That is the only trade that has happened between the Mariners and the Red Sox in the last year. Hypothetically, there's been tens of trades made between the teams, but nothing yet. But I guess I can open the show by talking about the dynamic Dominican outfielder in his late 20s who just recently signed life-changing money coming off a career year, really, on a new baseball team, and really took that team and helped them win baseball games this year. Victor Robles, what does he mean to the Mariners next season? No, I'm kidding. I could talk about Victor Robles. All of those facts apply to Victor Robles. But no, I'll talk about Juan Soto. Juan Soto, a little bit better of a player than Victor Robles, I'd say. I know that's the hard-hitting analysis you get here on this podcast. But Juan Soto, felt obvious that he was going to the Mets, and yet I still ate the garbage. I believe I said that when I said I'm going to eat the garbage and say that the Red Sox are going to sign him. I just thought it made sense. But you know what else makes sense? Steve Cohen saying, fuck it, $765 million over 15 years, no deferrals. Yeah, easy money. That is like chump change to a man who is one of the richest people on planet Earth. Juan Soto, 15 years, $765 million. That's insane. That is an insane amount of money. Especially no deferrals. That is phenomenal. I absolutely love that. And there's like a $75 million signing bonus as well, which is pretty crazy, seeing more of these big signing bonuses, at least reported on in baseball. Same with the deferrals. I feel like the deferrals have always been a thing, but after the Ohtani contract now, any big contract, people are going to be clamoring to know if there are deferrals. No deferrals in this one. No frills at all. Just pure, uncut cash. The $75 million, is he getting that in cash? Like, does Steve Cohen just drop off a big sack of money to Juan Soto's house for $75 million? I know it's probably a wire transfer, but I want to imagine it's a check, and Juan Soto has to walk into the bank and say, yes, hello, I would like to cash this check for $75 million, please. I know that's not how it's going to work, but oh God, this is so much money. I mean, there's every podcast has and will continue to talk about this Juan Soto signing, but it's kind of a seminal moment in baseball history. This deal, this player, this team. I mean, obviously, it's the biggest contract in sports history. Basically, he's got guaranteed money. I'm pretty sure it equals out to the most. Definitely in American sports. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking of the Cristiano Ronaldo contract at his Saudi club, and even like the Messi Barcelona deal. I feel like they paid him $1 billion. But definitely American sports. Definitely, it's all guaranteed. Like, he's getting all of this money, and he goes from the New York Yankees, from going to the World Series, from having a phenomenal bounce back season after 2023 with the Padres, still put up, probably off the top of my head, 5 WAR in a down year for him. Goes to the Yankees and just lights the world on fire over there. We saw truly when you compare him to Ted Williams, the comps are so appropriate. And this year we saw what he can do to a team. It was tremendous. He was a huge part of why they went to the World Series. And apparently, since then, he hasn't spoken to any of the Yankees teammates, and he just took $750 million to go play for the crosstown rival, the Mets. When I say seminal moment in baseball history, this is like, it's not the nail in the coffin for the Yankees franchise. That I won't say that. But it's kind of a changing of the guard. I mean, now the Mets haven't won anything, so until they win something, until they win the World Series, to be quite honest, it's not going to feel real. Like, I feel like they're always going to be the little brother. But now the vibes with the Mets, oh, they're so much better than the Yankees. And I don't think we'll ever truly know ultimately why Juan Soto took this deal. Was it just because it was the most money? Because the Yankees offered him 16 years, apparently, and $760 million, which, yeah, that's a little bit less per year, but also that is basically the same end money. And are you, like, if you really wanted to sign with the Yankees, would $5 million in one extra year, like, really get in the way of re-signing with the Yankees if you really wanted to? There was talk that the Red Sox hit the 700 mark. There was talk that the Blue Jays also hit the 700 mark. And again, really, unless he truly wanted the highest dollar amount here, if he wanted to sign with the Red Sox and they offered him 730 over 15 years and the Mets had this offer, I still, like, he would have signed with the Red Sox. Again, like, if he really wanted to go somewhere, he would have gone there, I feel like. The Yankees part, obviously, it's just tasty to see Yankees fans coping on the internet. But it's so hilarious that Cohen has come in and done this. And then the reports that have come out about this Yankees negotiating, where they offered him that amount of money in the 16 years. But then apparently also there were a couple stories that, like, Juan Soto's family got denied something from a security guard this season, and he didn't appreciate that. I doubt that was the reason he didn't re-sign. But then it also came out that they didn't give him a suite, which I've learned is it's a pretty common thing in baseball, especially with your superstar players, ones who are likely the biggest players on your team and maybe in your team Hall of Fame. They get suites for their families and such to go watch the game there. It's a fairly common thing. Apparently, now the Yankees do give the suites out, but they don't give them out for free. Derek Jeter and Aaron Judge both pay the Yankees for their suites, which is insane. And they didn't give Juan Soto the suite for free. They're going to make him pay for it. Is that the reason he didn't re-sign with the Yankees? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know. Maybe he just never wanted to go back to the Yanks. He likes the idea of the Mets. He liked the money. I'm sure David Stearns is quite a good man to pitch, because you go to the Mets, and Juan Soto, when this contract is all said and done, has a very good chance of being the greatest Met of all time. It's not a particularly loaded list. Like, it's a fairly new franchise in the grand scheme of baseball. So he could go down as the greatest Met of all time. And maybe it's more fun being a Met than a Yankee. Like, did the Yankees, have they reached a critical point of, are they two Yankees? Like, I'm not shocked that they didn't give a suite to Soto, because they also haven't done that for Jeter and Judge, your captains. But they should have given them to Jeter and Judge for free, and then they could have given one to Juan Soto and not felt bad about it. Like, why are they like this still? Why do they make you still cut your hair? Why? Why do they do that? Like, I feel like they are just, they're Yankeesing too hard. But also, this is just a matter of, I think Cohen probably heard other offers and was like, I'm not going to be denied. This is the guy. This is why I bought this baseball team. He's made a lot of signings the past couple of years since owning this team, but Juan Soto in this contract is the reason he bought this baseball team. This is the reason why Steve Cohen as an owner matters, because he can just do this with no referrals. He can just say, yeah, fuck it. You want a suite? Absolutely. You want anything else in life? I'll give it to you. that's the advantage here. Where like the Steinbrenner family is rich, very rich, but like I feel like most of their money is just tied up in the valuation of the Yankees, which to be fair is like what, $8 billion, 7, something like that. Cohen, it's just kind of different. He has all this money just liquid. It's not like in valuations. He just has this money hand out. So I think that's probably ultimately why they were the favorite and why they ended up signing him. So it's crazy. Crazy amount of money. No player is worth this. Like no player is worth $765 million. But when you have a guy like Cohen and a player like Juan Soto hit the market this young, contract was always going to be high, but this is higher than even the highest estimates I saw. I think Passan or someone else said it could eclipse 700 million. Initially, it was like, yeah, at least 500, more probably 600, probably between 600 to 650, and then reports were like, oh, could eclipse 700. This is almost $800 million. Crazy. I wouldn't have done it though if I was the Mariners. That's if I had the money. He doesn't play very good defense in the corners. He's not very fast. Like, why would I pay a player that much money if he's not even going to steal bases for me? Or even play good defense. Like we're about fundamentals over here in Seattle, and he just lacks a lot of fundamentals. I don't appreciate the shimmying in the box. He's a little too cocky for my liking. So I'm out. I'm good. Have him, Mets. Good luck. I just can't believe it, man. I contend I would have given Juan Soto a blank check to come sign with my baseball team. So there's that. I'll stop talking about Juan Soto. I don't need to talk about him anymore. Go listen to another podcast that talks more about broader baseball topics than me if you really want some Juan Soto takes. But I mean, sure, this is an overpay, but I would have paid any amount of money for Juan Soto to play on my baseball team. And the last thing I will say, the last thing I'll end on here, is the stakes are so high for the Mets now. Like, if the Mets don't win a World Series, or even like if they get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, if they miss the playoffs, the stakes are so much higher now that Juan Soto is on this team and their payroll is that much higher. That's more pressure, and that's a lot more hating that the rest of the league can do if and when they lose. It's kind of what has happened to the Dodgers. Like, everyone incessantly clowned the Dodgers. Every year they lose in the playoffs, and it was pretty fun to laugh at them because they spent lots of money. Same with the Mets recently. When they lose, it's like, haha, your payroll's $350 million. Now it's like that tenfold. Now it's like, haha, you lost, and you paid Juan Soto that much money. So it's even funnier to laugh at them. But yeah, that's what I'll end on. The stakes are higher for them and their fans. So there's a lot more pressure on them to win now. But that's not a bad spot to be in. I'm not saying that's a bad thing by any means. But Juan Soto gets paid a lot of money. I will remind you that he was never once ranked higher than Victor Robles on the national top prospect list. So there's that. Who's really winning in the end? What's a better value? Victor Robles for what he signed, $10 million for 2 years? Or Juan Soto for $765 million over 10 or 15? My bad. I swear to God, John Stanton is in his house right now thinking the exact same thing. He's like, oh, Robles dollars per WAR. It's just a better value at the end of the day than Juan Soto. So I'd much rather have Robles. All right, what's been happening with the Mariners? Very quiet, as I said, very quiet. Rumors. All we've gotten is rumors. The biggest thing from the winter meetings that happened with the Mariners is that like Adam Jew, Daniel Kramer, Jerry DiPoto, Jesus. He did get interviewed, but Ryan Divish, all of the Mariners beat writers were just tweeting more things because they were getting scoops and such. And it was all just rumors. It was trade rumors. It was Sasaki rumors. It was they might want to trade Luis Castillo. It was they're very far out from making any moves. That was from the horse's mouth. That was from Jerry DiPoto himself saying that they're not close really to trading or making any trades or making any big moves. Very different to last season. They're really moving and shaking most of the end of the year. And right now they really haven't done anything. But they sat around And they got the third pick in the draft lottery. I'll mention that. I don't want to talk about it incessantly right now. We'll talk about it next season in the middle when the draft is actually upcoming. But the third pick is crazy. The odds of that was like 1.5% of them getting the third pick, I think. The odds of them getting in the top 6 was like 0.5 or the odds of them getting the number 1 was 0.5. I think they were supposed to get like 13th or something. So that's a huge win. That's a massive win. But I don't need to dwell on that. It's very early to think about the amateur draft that will happen next July. But that was a crazy thing. Crazy win. Big dub. All right. Are they going all in on Roki Sasaki? Are they really doing this? They said it about Shohei. They said, hey, we're going all in. What could this even mean, really? What do we even know? What do you even know about this Roki Sasaki fella? Well, he's pitcher. No, I've talked about Roki Sasaki already. I'm just so skeptical. I mean, I'm not skeptical that the Mariners aren't going to try to sign him, but I'm increasingly confident that Jerry DiPoto and his team just do not have the juice, man. I just feel like some of it is they have a limited budget and just don't really sign guys. And obviously it doesn't pertain to Roki Sasaki in this matter because they can only offer him so much money. But also I think part of it might just be they're bad at signing players. Like they're bad at convincing players to come to Seattle. Like, I don't know. Could be wrong. I really hope they prove me wrong. But they also said they were going full force for Ohtani. And, they probably did. And he still ended up picking the Angels. And it's one of the worst moments of my entire life. But they got a shot with Roki Sasaki here. And Jerry talked about, like, potentially a 6-man rotation. Like, them being in on Roki Sasaki does not indicate that they'll trade a starting pitcher. There's plenty of chatter around them doing that, for sure. It makes sense, but it sounds like they're very reluctant to trade from their starting rotation unless they really do get blown away. Like, I think they're going to want good value for any of their pitchers, and they should want that. I mean, their pitchers are quite good. They should want good value. But Roki Sasaki, it sounds like they could, even if they sign him, a 6-man rotation would make sense because he's not used to the he's not used to MLB workload, and easing him in as a 6-man in the rotation is not a bad idea, especially because he has been, hurt the past couple of years. He's been out with injury, I should say. So it's interesting. The thing about it is, I think all 30 teams, I'm going to say all 29, because, again, Rockies, wild card. No idea what they're ever going to do. All 30 teams, all 29 teams, whatever you want to say, are probably going to have a pitch of some kind for Roki Sasaki. He's going to sign in January for what's the maximum bonus pool? Like $6 million? It won't eclipse like 7, I don't think you can. So it makes sense for the Mariners when you really think about it. And Roki Sasaki's agent, I think his name is Wolf. Last name Wolf, first name I'm forgetting. I think Joe, maybe. Talked at the winter meetings and kind of confirmed some of the rumors that had been circulating, but basically also said like he hasn't really talked to him a whole lot because he's not actively getting pursued yet because he's signing in January. But basically said like he's not just going to go to the biggest team, the biggest market, the best players. It's not necessarily what he wants, obviously, because every team can basically offer him the same amount of money, more or less. There's not a financial leg up that a Mets, Dodgers, Yankees would have on this. And also, maybe he doesn't want, I talked about this already, maybe he doesn't want to be another pitcher on a team. Maybe he wants to be the guy. Maybe he doesn't want to go to the Dodgers because he doesn't want to get outshined by Shohei Ohtani. But also the biggest piece here is that Wolf is not ruling out and said maybe it'd be better and maybe he wants to sign with a smaller market team that is good at pitching development. Because when you think about it, it would make sense if Roki Sasaki himself and his camp, his team, want to play the long game. He could wait 2 more years and get paid a buttload of money. but he's not. He's coming over now, which indicates to me he's planning for the future. He's okay with taking less money now if he can establish himself as a great pitcher in MLB and then get paid later down the line. That's what Ohtani did. That's not what Yamamoto did. He'd get paid like Yamamoto, if not more, if he was like 25 years old right now and could come over and get a full contract. But no, he's not. So that indicates to me it makes sense that he might want to he doesn't need to go to a huge market team, and he wants to value pitching development. The Mariners are that. They're like a very medium. They're not a small market team. They're very in the middle, veering towards decently large. But the pitching development is obviously a huge strength. Everyone knows that. I think most people would identify them as one of the best pitching development teams in MLB. There's plenty good ones, but the Mariners are definitely up there. And they have a history with Japanese players. Obviously, it sounds like Ichiro is going to be a part of the pitch to him, which is smart. Obviously, I think they should do that. So there's something here. There's meat on this bone, for sure. But I'm not going to get my hopes up at all. And the season next year is not very contingent on him signing because he's not a position player. So if they miss out on Roki Sasaki, I will be sad. But I won't be supremely broken up about it because the pitching staff is so good as it stands right now that I'm not super worried about the pitching next year. But missing out on Roki Sasaki would be missing out on the next however many years, 5-6 years. Yeah, 6 years. So there's that. We'll see if it's true that they're really going full bore to sign him. That would just be awesome if they did that, but we'll see. What else happened at the winter meetings? Lots of rumors, as I said. The Mariners, a lot of Luis Castillo trade chatter recently on the timeline. It sounds like, again, Jerry Dipoto has said they're very reluctant and not looking to trade any of their starting pitchers. But Luis Castillo's name has come up as they're not shopping him around, but it's like, hey, we will trade. We're open to trading him if the right offer comes in. And so the Red Sox always come up. They always come up in this conversation with the Mariners pitching, trading. But a lot of teams could use Luis Castillo. A lot of teams, every team basically could afford him. He's not getting paid a crazy amount of money. I think it's $22.5 million per year till 2027, and then 2028 there's a vesting option for $25 million, I believe. And I think that's part of the reason why, after seeing what Max Fried got paid by the Yankees, it's like now Luis Castillo, it's looking like, even as he potentially might be on a slow career decline, I should say, still teams are going to look at his salary compared to what is available at free agency and say, hey, maybe it's better value for us to trade for Luis Castillo. So it makes sense. And it makes sense from the Mariners' perspective, unfortunately, because $22.5 million is a lot of money for them. It's a lot of money to pay a starting pitcher, especially one who is not getting younger. He's in his 30s. There's definitely indicators that the aging has begun. I talked about that at the season end podcasts. And unfortunately, they can't just write out this contract and be happy with it. If they can trade him and save a little money in the process, I think they're going to, as long as they get a good bat back. It just kind of sucks that has to be factored in here. Because if they were a serious team, they'd be like, nope, we're trading no pitchers unless someone absolutely blows us out of the water. We're sticking with Luis Castillo and the other four, and we're going to sign a few guys. We're going to spend $300 million this offseason to get a third baseman, a second baseman, a first baseman, an outfielder, anyone. But no, they're not going to do that. So this simultaneous cost-cutting / an avenue to upgrade the offense in a meaningful way, they're going to take. They're going to take that if the opportunity presents itself. Just sucks that they're in that position where that has to be a factor here. Also, just because I love Luis Castillo. I really, really do enjoy watching Luis Castillo pitch. I wouldn't hate a trade with him included. I just think right now, and I think they're doing this, I think they just need to really get some value back. referring to the Red Sox, and now the Red Sox aren't the only team that they would trade for or trade with. I think like the Yankees still make sense. I think the Orioles make a ton of sense. I think who else makes sense? Astros don't really make sense to me. The Tigers? Nah, that'd be kind of wacky. I think like the Red Sox and the Orioles, just looking at the AL East. AL East makes a ton of sense. Red Sox can afford the contract, no sweat. And same with the Orioles, but it seems like the Orioles are also very cheap despite having new owners at the moment. Luis Castillo straight up for Tristan Casas has been the topic, I'd say, of the Mariners' internet sphere over the winter meetings. And I'm like super tepid on that trade for both sides. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't really love it though. You know, I like Tristan Casas. Casas. He doesn't come without his red flags. He's been very hurt. He seems quite injury prone. But he has a career OPS plus of like 124, I think. He's a very capable hitter. First base defense is not something I really care about too much, especially when you got the weapon Perry Hill at your disposal to help him out in that regard. So I wouldn't hate it. I'm tepid on both sides because, again, like I don't think that's the best that they could do, the Red Sox, that is, with a Tristan Casas trade. I think he'd get a better starter than Luis Castillo. I have concerns about how many home runs he's given up the past couple of years, about him going to that ballpark, frankly. And then for the Mariners, again, Tristan Casas fully healthy. He has a lot, like the real value of this trade, lopsided value, is because Luis Castillo is owed so much money over the next few years, and Casas is under team control for a while and going to be much cheaper than Luis Castillo. So that's why it, like from a finances perspective, if you're looking at it like that, it makes more sense for the Mariners to do this. They seemingly are getting more value, but then you think about it and you're still losing out. You're still missing a starter. Every team could use starters. Even how durable this pitching staff has been, that's not a given year in and year out. Luis Castillo is still a very capable pitcher. And then Casas, again, there's just concerns about his health. Like, can he stay healthy? That's a pretty big hurdle, especially for someone who's so young. You could look at it like glass half full, glass half empty. He's so young that, yeah, maybe his body, like, he'll just figure out how to stay healthy. He's still young, meaning he could still kind of just come into his Major League Baseball playing career and be healthy the next 5 seasons. Or you could look at it more, in my opinion, realistically and see, hey, this guy just gets hurt. Do you want 180 innings of Luis Castillo next season or 100 games of Tristan Casas at first base / DH a little bit, probably? I don't know. That Tristan Casas might be more valuable to what the Mariners need than Luis Castillo is right now. But I don't know. I have thought about this trade a lot, and I just don't know about it. I'd be more interested in if I don't know. I don't even know who they could get back. And then if the Red Sox call about like George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, I think you're starting with one of the Red Sox top prospects, and they just traded a couple of their top prospects for Crochet. So if they wanted to trade for George Kirby, are they going to trade Marcelo Meyer for George Kirby? Like, I don't know if they're going to do that. Would they give up Roman Anthony at all at this point? I don't think they would. So I would. The world is kind of Jerry DiPoto's oyster right now, because now it's looking like Luis Castillo's contract is good and advantageous to trade away. So you look towards the East, you look towards the Orioles now, you look towards the Yankees and the Red Sox and anyone else who wants some of Jerry DiPoto's wares and see what you can get. Meanwhile, there was some Christian Walker free agency chatter as well. That was seeming like smoke and no fire there. I don't know what they're going to give him. I don't know what first basemen are going to go for in this market. Like, Willie Adames just got paid a bunch of money, but he's a shortstop. Kind of hard to compare. Really fascinated to see where Pete Alonso ends up and what he gets, and that will kind of inform a Christian Walker decision. I really like Christian Walker a lot. I think he'd likely be cheaper than Pete Alonso. But then also the current market for position players, and this obviously includes Soto, and I even just all players, like Fried got more money than expected. I think Adames got more money. Soto got more money. It's seeming like most of the estimates for the players right now are lower than they're ending up to be. So maybe you would have to give Christian Walker $140 million over 5 years to play for your baseball team instead of like a, I don't know, 5 for 100, 5 for 110. Like I don't know what he's going to go for. He's just really solid. He's just a really good baseball player is why I really like Christian Walker, but I don't know. I just don't know what they're going to end up doing. Trades are going to have to be the thing that opens up spots on teams, because if the Red Sox trade Casas, they're likely shifting Devers to first base. Then maybe they just throw a lot of money to get Alex Bregman on the team. Alex Bregman, I think he's going to get paid a lot more money than I expected because of the money Willie Adames just got. It's just kind of it's a weird ecosystem right now, and it's not favoring the Mariners, a team that notoriously does not want to spend money and kind of has to overpay for position players to sign here. So it's just tough. It's just a very tough situation. I'm going to keep thinking about a Luis Castillo Casas trade. I still just don't know. I don't know if I love it. I do really like Casas. I like his profile. Like he's a really good eye. He can hit for a lot of power. It's just the health. Like again, the defense, I don't really care. The health is just scary. But maybe the Mariners deem it so advantageous to them in terms of team control versus Luis Castillo's contract that yeah. And then the also caveat here is I'm not confident they do anything with that money that they save from trading. If it's a Casas Castillo straight swap, which honestly I don't think is going to happen, but if it is, that saves the Mariners $20 million. I don't know. Is Casas still on? Let's see. Is Casas still on his rookie deal? He has to be. Let's see. I'm not going to pause the podcast. You can hear me mumble about $760,000 base contract, or $800 now. Yeah, he's still on league minimum next year, and then he hits his first ARB year, 2026. So you're saving effectively $22 million next year, and then his first year of ARB, he probably gets what, depending on what he does next year, $5 million. So yeah, you're saving a lot of money. Are they going to do anything with it? Because if I was playing, let's say, out of the park baseball, and I'm the Seattle Mariners, and I see my budget, and if I free up $22 million, I would flip that around and pay a Pete Alonso or Christian Walker. I'd pay like Alex Bregman to play third base. I would pay money to sign Hai-Sung Kim to play second, and then maybe I'd go acquire Brandon Lau from the Rays, and he's on a decent contract right now. You pay him some of that millions, but are the Mariners going to take the $22 million saved from Luis Castillo and spend it effectively? I don't have faith that they can do that. I don't have faith that they will. I don't have faith that they can even pull that off effectively. So that's also where my tepidness for this trade comes in. What do they do with the saved money? I just have no clue. No clue at all. But that is, I'm done talking about trading away my darling Luis Castillo. I really don't want him to go to the Yankees, because imagine if he has to cut all his hair off. That would suck. Wouldn't that be awful? No, that can't happen. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Jerry basically said they're not close to really making any moves, which I don't trust that man at all. So that could mean he makes a trade right after I record this, which has happened before. But the other thing, I want to talk about the Red Sox again for 1 second. Garrett Crochet gets traded to the Red Sox for, honestly, I think the White Sox did great. I think both sides did great. Crochet is an awesome pitcher, and the White Sox got what looks like a couple very good prospects. Jeff Passan tweeted this out. He tweeted out initially, and then once the trade was official and he could confirm it, he said, referring to Garrett Crochet, that he is a Boston Red Sox. You know, like how Boston Red Sox is spelled with an X. I assumed, and I still assume, that Red Sox is plural. So, if referring to it like as a singular thing, wouldn't it be Garrett Crochet is a Boston Red Sox? Like, wasn't he previously a White Sox, and now he has painted his sock red and is now a Red Sox? Or is Jeff correct here? I mean, he is the journalist. He probably knows more about writing and the English language than I do. Not probably, he definitely does. Is it really is it he's a Boston Red Sox? Like, is David Ortiz one of the best? No, you can't say one of the best Boston Red Sox of all time. That makes sense. Please let me know. I've looked this up too, and there's just conflicting reports on if it's truly the plural or if that's really just the name of the team, and you should say someone is a Boston Red Sox. I just don't know. According to like the internet, I have it in front of me. A Red Sox is indeed plural, but because it's like the informal spelling of like socks, like the clothing garment. And there's plenty of Reddit posts of people discussing this. And it might be one of those things in the English language that sounds super wrong coming out of your mouth, but is actually correct because the English language is just whack in so many ways. So when you say Garrett Crochet is a Red Sox, that might be true. But I think I'm never going to say that in my life. I think I'm always going to say Garrett Crochet is a Boston Red Sox. I think individual players on the sock teams are sock, singular. Rafael Devers is a Boston Red Sox. He's not a Boston Red Sox. You know, just go back to stockings. Get rid of this X and just say, yeah, Garrett Crochet is a Boston Red Stocking now. Singular player, singular sock on a grand collection of mini socks. A drawer called Fenway Park. Wow, that was okay. I've been thinking about this ever since I saw the tweet. I just don't. It just sounds incorrect to me. But let me know if it sounds correct to you. I don't know. The only other thing I want to talk about today, a little bit shorter pod, just because frankly the Mariners haven't done a whole lot. Still, I will say I'm still planning a Hall of Fame Felix Ichiro joint episode here in the offseason at some point, probably in the new year. And then closer to the season starts, after some trades might happen, I will be talking about the farm system and some of the players. But I'm going to wait because I'm assuming some of them might get traded, and I don't want to talk a lot about them before that happens. So I'm going to try to hold out as long as I can before talking about the farm system at the moment. But the last thing I want to say, the Modesto Nuts. This was news yesterday. The Modesto Nuts, they are no longer going to be the Mariners affiliate after 2025. So they're getting sold to Diamond Sports or Diamond Baseball Holdings, who owns like 40 minor league teams, which I don't really like the sound of that, but that's just me. Doesn't seem very pro-labor to me. I'm just saying. And apparently I think the Travelers are part of the Diamond Baseball Holdings, and then they're going to be their new A-ball affiliate. Replacing the Nuts is a California team further south, the Inland Empire 66ers. And that's the start of 2026. I think they're also in Diamond Sports or Diamond Baseball Holdings group. So that's just a shakeup, which sucks for the people of Modesto. And the Mariners have given them the past couple of years very good teams to root for. They've won the Cal League Championship back-to-back seasons, 2023 and 2024. So this is sad. Their stadium needs like a lot of upgrades to be like an official minor league stadium. Like there's a lot of money that they need to spend to get up to like MLB standards. It's a city-owned stadium too, so that obviously comes with its own like needing taxpayer money problems to fix the stadium up. Just sucks whenever a team potentially might not be a minor league team anymore in a town. I don't know what happens to the Modesto Nuts after 2025. I don't know. Will the Diamond Group pay for their stadium upgrades, and will they be an affiliate of another team? I hope so. But point is, one of the best mascots in tandem with the logo, the Nuts, no longer going to be the Mariners affiliate. The Inland Empire 66ers will now be. And that means I am that much closer to being driving distance away from seeing Felman Celestin, who might be in A-ball next season. So that's intriguing to me. I live in Southern California. Modesto would have been a very far drive from Southern California if you're not familiar with the geography. Inland Empire, that's still pretty far from me, despite it looking fairly close on a map. But it's drivable if I want to go up there and see Felman and anyone else playing with the 66ers. They're named that because of the famous Route 66, which went through San Bernardino. They were named something else. The Mariners, a while ago, they were like the Spirits, because the Mariners is not the first time the Mariners minor league team has been this particular club. Yeah, they were the San Bernardino Spirit from 87 to 95, and that is when the Mariners, they were affiliated of the Mariners. They were affiliated again of the Mariners from 01 to 06. So, I encourage you to look up their logo. It's like a blue-collar worker swinging a wrench as a bat. I kind of fuck with it, honestly. I like it. But salute to the Nuts. That's all I wanted to end with. Salute to the Modesto Nuts and the championships that were won there the past couple of years with ridiculously good Mariners minor league teams. Happy that Modesto got to see that, and that community got to celebrate championships of their minor league baseball team. That's fun. But I'm going to end it here. A little bit of a shorter pod, but just wanted to touch on the end of the winter meetings. I had time to record, so thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a great rest of your week. I will provide potential podcast updates via Twitter because we're going into the holiday season where I'm taking time off work. I'm going to be back home. We'll see if I end up recording one again before I am actually back home away from my equipment. But we'll see. I will update it. If Jerry does make a move before, then I will totally podcast. And if he makes a move for the week of Christmas while I'm at home, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be angry, and he's probably going to do it. So we'll see. Anyways, again, have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next time.